Welcome everyone to the Mastermind Book Club, another session of a very important book. The book that we are reviewing tonight is called Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle. And tonight, our members will be giving you a brief summary of what they thought this book meant to them. Let's start out with Reggie. Reggie?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so this book is pretty solid, a pretty very interesting book. This book by Eckhart Tolle regarding stillness speaks. I think the most important thing that I realize is that in stillness you can actually find a lot of things. So you would think that's kind of oxymoronic or whatever, where if you're sitting still, what could you possibly be doing? Because you're not actually doing anything. But in actuality, as the book talked about, in your stillness is where you can find direction, or where you in which you can basically figure out what direction you need to go. And that's a very important thing, right? To be able to know where you're going, but to know where you're going first from staying in a state of quietude and just being still, and then from there you can actually find everything that you need so that you know exactly which direction you're going and where you're going to end up. And then it was a point where it made this statement. It says, "I'm doing so much, I'm doing so much, I'm so busy," or whatever it was. And then the statement was, "And what is the quality of your doing?" So it's not just about doing things, because you could be doing all kinds of things. But if you're not doing things that's taking you to where you need to go, then you're basically just doing things for nothing. So the point is just to get to a point where, or state where you're actually going to be able to create those things that you need to do from a point where you're getting the proper knowledge and understanding of what it is that you should be doing. And that place that you can get that is when you actually stand still and just listen and meditate and think and allow those information to come to you, so that you know from that you can actually go where you need to go and end up where you end up where you need to end up.
You end up when you need to end up. Does that sound like something you'd like to be? Wind up?
Oh, for sure. I don't want to just meander. I want to know that I have a place to go and I'm actually going to get there because I actually designed it.
I feel the same way. Thank you, Reggie. I appreciate
Mhm.
that.
You're welcome.
Charles,
Yeah,
you
good
ready?
evening, everyone. And following up with what Reggie said, we are self-powered. In a book by Eckhart Tolle, he talks about we are not what we think or believe, because what we think or believe is actually part of our past. We have to sit still, or through meditation, we can really see and discover, I guess, what's going on with us. Like taking time to be still, taking time to be in that quiet place. I oftentimes go to the river. It's a river in Philadelphia called the Schuylkill River. And we can sit on what we call Kelly Drive or Martin Luther King Drive. And you can kind of see the calmness through your eye, your mind's eye, when you sit there by the water and just come outside of yourself. Because technically, we are spiritual beings living in a flesh and blood body. So you're not what you appear to be, and what you think you're observing in the now really is just part of your past character. So the book brings that out about, I guess, focusing in that still quiet time to actually see, like what Reggie was saying, where you want to go, who you want to be, and what you want to process. Because technically, we're still like this ball of clay, and we're constantly evolving to become something that we project ourselves to be.
Constantly, constantly projecting ourselves to be
Constantly evolving.
evolving. Yes, that is true. Thank you, Charles, for sharing that. Gina, are you ready?
I am ready, David. Wisdom comes from stillness. In the Bible, there's a verse about stillness. Well, there are lots of verses about stillness. One is, "Be still and know that I am God." And reading this book or listening to it on YouTube, it was very interesting that I was the first thing I had those voices in my head, and the voices were telling me, "Speed this thing up; it's going too slow." Okay, and so Eckhart talks about the voices in our heads that it's constantly this constant chatter that's going on over and over again. It's telling us to do this, to do that. We forgot this, we should have done this, and blah, 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 blah. It's just unending. And he said that that chatter in our heads is actually not us. Okay. This is, some said that these voices come from programming that we have received over the years as children, even now as adults. It has to do with our culture and everything else. And so this is like the ego voice that tries to keep us alive, so to speak. But once we get beyond that and we realize this is really not me that's speaking, that my total essence lie in stillness, then we become detached, or we can become detached from that voice, that consistent chatter in our head, and find peace. That's what I got from reading this.
Your total voice lies in stillness, correct? Or am I wrong? Is that what you
Wisdom.
said?
Wisdom lies
Wisdom.
in
Wisdom
stillness.
lies in stillness.
Yeah, yes. Our
Yes.
stillness, produces wisdom.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you, Gina. Martha.
Um, I have very a lot of appreciation for this book for Eckhart Tolle because it changed my perception of life in a lot of ways. And one of the things I want to say is because I love the part of this powerful, for me it's very deep. And they say, when you lose touch with your inner stillness, you lose touch with yourself. When you lose touch with yourself, you lose yourself in the world. And this is your inner must be sense of yourself, of who you are. And stillness direct our actions, works, and thought. So we are in effect with whole body, mind, and soul with this powerful perception profound from, and that's where I changed in a lot of ways my thinking and my perception of life.
Wonderful, Martha. Thank you for sharing that. Eckhart Tolle, Stillness Speaks. When was the last time you took 5 minutes to do nothing? Or I should say to think. Did you know that a lot of people that have done this, and I'm not just saying about 5 minutes, but for an extensive period of time, have become very successful? It is within each one of us that we have a gift that most of us rarely ever utilize. And that gift requires us to just sit down. Maybe it's through prayer. Maybe it's in your car. Maybe it's in your bathroom. Maybe it's in your living room. Wherever it is, maybe it's near nature. Wherever it is, try it. I know that some of you that are listening in this book club right now have tried meditation. Has it worked? Has it not? At the beginning, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel wild. And Eckhart Tolle tells us that is where we can find a lot of what we're looking for. I am attempting to be more and more still. And although I have not accomplished to the level that I want yet, I am in the process. And this book gets me closer to where I want to be. Why? I don't have to read it over and over and over again just as Eckhart Tolle says, but at least carry it or be aware of it, and eventually it will kick in. This is the Mastermind Book Club signing off with another empowering book that impresses me immensely and assists me in thinking that I just need to stop doing what I'm doing and start thinking about what I want and where I want to be. Thank you. Take care, and until next week.